taking a walk through London, England in November of 2023. Hey everyone, I'm Patrick from Oakland Travel. It is the London 30 plus top sites walking tour, and starting to get kind of into the evening now. This was a long tour that kicked off at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're kind of getting a little close to the end of the tour now. I can't remember exactly how long it went, but it just we went everywhere. Our step count after this tour was quite high. But right here we are in the Southwark. I'm not sure how you say it. I'm not sure how the locals would say it, but you can see the Thames River right there. And I'm trying to hold the camera with one hand and deal with an umbrella because it would periodically start raining on us, and you see the raincoats and everything. So just weather in London, you know, it's one of those things. And one of the things that we really enjoyed the most about this, you see the real Greek right there, when we went over to London for our little 8-day vacation, was the food. I was pleasantly surprised by the food, as we see Greek and pizza, you know, and just all sorts of different options over there. And there's so much to do in London that one of the cool things about the trip was every night it was kind of like, okay, where do we want to eat dinner at? You know, we would pull up a couple of different apps and the Google Maps and things like that, and try to figure out where we wanted to have dinner. And I really enjoyed that aspect of London. Of course, a lot of other aspects, but I was pleasantly surprised by the food. So that was pretty cool. And one of the places we're getting ready to stop at down here is kind of a notorious area, or notorious like bar or restaurant or whatever, that's been there for quite some time. Reputationally has very good fish and chips. I think our little tour guide here talks about that in a second. Thank you.
So, a couple of things I wanted to talk about while we're here. One, this is where we can see London Bridge.
Oh, this is London Bridge?
This is not London Bridge. The bridge next to this one is London Bridge. The colour, well, they're both colourful, so that doesn't really help, but the next colourful one over, that is London Bridge. It is literally just a concrete bridge. But the reason it's so significant is because it was the site of the very first bridge that ever crossed the Thames here. That is the only, especially the first one, 43 AD, this is the only 8th generation. So really not that long. Not that many bridges have sat on that spot. This one was built in the 70s though. But we're going to end literally just as you're about to walk onto it. So it'll be a nice time if you do want to walk onto it to see some bits. But while we are here, welcome to the Anchor. So the Anchor is one of the oldest pubs on the river here. It was built in 1615. Now it says built on its board that it survived the Great Fire of London. Technically it is not lying. However, the fire didn't go onto this side of the river. So, I mean, it didn't really survive it, right? But it is, well, was the home for a lot of the Shakespearean actors, of Shakespeare's actors, and also for the pirates and smugglers of this city. So they'd come in, they'd dock their boats, and they'd come into here. As I'm sure they did with many of the pubs down the road here. It did, however, survive Cromwell. Because Oliver Cromwell, one of the things he got rid of, cars. Yeah. It is a good place if you're wanting, after the tour, a nice little pint. They do fish and chips in here. You know, your bog standard fish and chips, but they also do a couple of other options. But there's some other ones along the way as well. But we are now in Southwark. Now, Southwark is a very interesting place. I think that Southwark is kind of older than London itself. London City, at least. London, right? The reason I say this is because while the Romans were building Londinium, they then had to have somewhere to set up camp. And this side of the river was the least marshy out of all of them. So they thought, fantastic, this is where we'll set up it. We'll set up the camp. So every morning they'd walk across the bridge, they'd start building Londinium, then they'd walk back on over, and they'd camp out here. And when eventually moved into Londinium, it never really died, the buzz of this side of the river, because it was also the only entrance and exit into it. So because of this, it became like the seedy underbelly of London, right? And this is where people would cross over the river. This is, several years after Londoning was created. They'd cross over the river. This was suddenly where there weren't the rules of the city anymore. They could play fast. This is where they came to behave badly and have a good time. It was where the gambling was, the beer pits, the brothels, the pubs, the theatres, all the good stuff was over here, right? And that was kind of it was mad for crime, it was really unsafe, but it was enjoyable. And it continued to be exactly like this.